Welcome, burnt bronze sons and daughters of the Most High. I'm glad you could join me again. In the last video, I was talking about a lot of things dealing with current events, what's going on behind the scenes, what God, Yahweh Most High, wants you to know and understand in this hour, because it's crucial. Many of you are living in America, living in Babylon, and a lot of you know what the book of Revelations and other books of the Bible have foretold about what's coming. So I want to continue to share with you what he's sharing with me. A lot of people got back to me over the course of time that I've been away and asked, well, where have you been? What have you been doing? Like more or less, why come you haven't been putting stuff up? Well, basically, I'm doing the same thing that I'm telling you to do. As God has led me out a few years back from Babylon, he has had me on this journey. And as he has me to make stops, to do whatever he's, commanded me to do, to speak, he's also teaching me. I'm like Mary sitting at his feet. Martha was busy, but Mary was interested in what Yeshua HaMashiach had to say, because it was something in her made her feel like it was really important. And so let me give you a little point of fact. Just maybe a few weeks ago, the Most High came to me and spoke and said, right before I woke up, and he said, it's time to grow up. And I said, grow up? Like, what do you mean grow up? Like, I'm a grown up and I've been walking with you. He said, it's time for you to understand and prepare for, in other words, what you don't understand and what you know. Okay. And what he explained was death and the dying. A lot of us, we've lived in America so long, most of the things we see on TV is death and, carnage and movies and stuff. We can actually watch movies and be comfortable because we can get up and walk away. Hey, that's a movie. It's not real time. Yes, some people in the inner cities see a lot of that going on. But for the most of us, we don't see destruction. We haven't experienced death and the dying. Maybe people laying right around you as you're walking, they're dead. And so what hurts people usually, or what usually causes people to stumble in these chaotic situations, is seeing things they've never seen before. They don't know how to react to it. Maybe they are not experienced in locking down, praying, and walking through it. That's what really causes what they call trauma. And trauma leaves you afraid. Trauma leads you to not be effectual in doing whatever you need to do in that hour, in that moment. And I think I want to pass this along to you because you living in America, you're going to need to understand how to stand your ground, to fight, to, like David, realize, okay, this is coming down to the wire. I'm going to have to fight for the kingdom of heaven and my family and righteousness, because that's the whole game in the end. It is Satan trying to break down the servants of the Most High God to the point where they finally give up and give in. They're like, hey, I'm okay. Whatever you want me to do, I don't care. As long as I can live, as long as my children can live, as long as I can have food to eat. Very dangerous. That's your soul being laid on the altar of the dragon and his sons and daughters who rule America. So I believe Yahweh was trying to say, you've got to grow up in the things that you are not familiar with. You're going to have to prepare, even though you couldn't perhaps put yourself in a scenario in your mind. You had better start thinking of, how do I handle this? What do I do? What are my options? Even in the book of Ecclesiasticus 22:16, chapter 22, verse 16 through 17, it says, a tie beam bonded into a building will not be dislodged by an earthquake. So too a heart resolved after due reflection will not flinch at the critical moment. Think about it. If I'm strong in what I know I'm going to do in a situation, or I've played out that scenario in my mind, if and when that thing happens, I can walk through it. It won't be easy, but it would be a lot easier than all of a sudden it just rolls up on me. I don't know what to do. Panic sets in. Fear sets in. You make bad choices when that happens. And so God Yahweh wants us to grow up. We call it chosen people, but we don't ever finish that sentence. Chosen for what? What were we chosen for? We were chosen to fight like heroes for the kingdom of heaven. And because we didn't, 2,000 years ago, we didn't stand up for Yeshua HaMashiach. At one time, Yeshua told me they didn't stand up for me. They didn't care for me. And so our people got scattered. They eventually went into bondage and was enslaved in the Americas, in the islands of the sea. Well, now he's saying, okay, I'm giving you this last chance to stand up for me, for yourself, for the kingdom, and for your children. But you must prepare. You can't just go on and say, well, you know, everything's been going on pretty smoothly. And so if it, you know, a little few rocks in the road, it's going to get okay. No, you better prepare. And what did it say? Be resolved after due reflection, and you will not flinch at the critical moment. In Babylon, there's going to be critical moments where the forces of darkness are going to try to break you down. What do you think they're doing in Gaza? What do you think America and Israel is actually doing in Gaza? They're trying to break down those people's resolve, their devoutness to God. And some people have, you know, learned bad things and saying, oh, well, you know, they're Islam and blah, blah, blah. Yes, but they are devout in the laws of God. And so what Satan wants to do, he wants the whole world to be blanketed with perversion. And the Most High spoke to me just a few days ago, and he said that what's going on there is Satan and his children are wanting to cause perversion over the whole region. When he said region, he's meaning his temple is there. Even though there's not a building there, there will always be Yahweh Most High's temple. But to take possession completely, they have to make that place, the land, completely perverse, filled with perversions. They can't do that because you have those people, the Palestinians, the Muslims, living out a kind of devout lifestyle. Okay, so we're going to get onto that another time. Right now, we're going to focus on you living in America and what you're going to have to do to prepare yourself. Okay, so in that case, what we're trying to say is, and what I believe the Most High was speaking to me is, you're going to have to prepare yourself. I don't live in America anymore. Like I said, Yahweh Most High has had me on this journey of coming out and listening to him, growing, learning, strengthening the inner core, understanding who the enemies are of God Yahweh, and not just understanding and preaching about it, as a lot of people are doing, the awakened in America, but actually moving and acting. Even in the book of Daniel, it says that God's chosen people, at the end, some of them will take action. What is taking action? That means to decide, I'm not going to live amongst a wicked, moralless, depraved, murdering society. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be a part of it. That's why God keeps calling everyone out. He's saying, I do not want you to be or suffer the repercussions of all the sins in this land. Now, you can make that choice. You stay or you don't. But you better gird up your loins. You better tighten up the ship. You better learn how to get some weapons, because it's going to come down to a fight. I told you in the last video that I just did recently that what's going to happen is the people are going to start revolting when they see all of this ISIS taking over and they don't have any rights anymore. And that's sort of what happened a couple of days ago, I think, in New York and New Jersey. Yep. Some of the people started to revolting and fighting back. And so that's going to really set off a combination, and worthy, It's time to stand up. It's time. But that's going to set off some chain reactions of what God has planned for the Babylon and where it's going to come apart all by itself. It's not going to exactly have to have a country coming in and destroying it. It's going to come apart by itself because of the oppression and the evil and the bloodshed. And we, as a God's holy chosen people, for a long time, we couldn't see it. It was like, you know, a sociopath. He slaps the wife around a little bit. The next day he kisses her. So we couldn't quite figure out, well, is these people bad? Or are they good? Or should we do something more? Or how should we? Now we see it. We see the craziness. We see the hatred, the racism, how they could help another country destroy innocent women and children and starve them to death, and yet was concerned about bringing white South Africans over to America. You think? After South Africa was inundated and oppressed for years by these same so-called Afrikaners, white people who took up residence 100 or so years ago. So now you can see the gloves are off, as God said. The gloves are off. Everybody can see the enemy. They can see the opponents, just like two boxers in a ring. You know now who you got to fight against. And if you don't, or if you don't prepare, or if you don't settle your mind about what's coming and what's possible, it's going to be hard for you to stand your ground. And a lot of you right now who are living, who have little groups, the awakened groups, you know, where you actually, you know, you're back to the laws, you're trying to live for the Most High, and you're seeking His will, but you're still in Babylon. Well, for you, you're really going to have to decide how you're going to handle what's coming up ahead. If you don't, you're going to fall prey to the same trap of the Antichrist and the beast that everyone else is. When he puts that pressure on you to either give up your life, or you can have food if you take on the mark, or whatever he wants you to do, be it cursing God or doing something evil against you or your family, or abandoning your family. All those things could happen based on what you don't understand is up ahead. So I'm telling you, you had better lock and load. You had better get you some weapons. You say, well, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about the laws. Guess what? You see the laws going out the window right now. All the laws that you thought was for you and supported you and your family, you're realizing, oh, it's changeable. This thing can change in a few hours where we have no rights. What do you do then when you have no rights? The law is not on your side. You and your children are at the mercy of these beings, which a lot of them, like I said, are running around. You think they're humans, but they're not. They've already infiltrated our airspace. They're already here. They've been lining themselves up for the last maybe year and a half, but in the last few weeks, inundating the place. Now this thing is on. This is on. So I'm just saying what the Most High has been speaking to me, to keep helping you to prepare. Those of you that are going to stay there. And remember, there are going to be some of you who survive. Few, but some of you will survive. And this is for you. For those who survive, and those who withstand, and those who endure, as the word says in Isaiah and a couple of other places. And you, once it collapses and it falls, and you make it out, something comes in your mind. I'm going to find God. I'm going to seek my Most High wherever He is. I'm going back to my Jerusalem. And I'm going to look for Him 10 times harder than I've ever done before. For you, you must prepare to leave things behind. You might have to leave family who don't want to go. You might have to leave things and possessions. I've left a lot, let me tell you. As in Mark, it says, for those who've left houses, land, children, family, friends, possessions, you will be rewarded in this life and the life to come. And there's some more rewards that a lot of you don't even realize you're going to get, that I'm not privy to speak of right now. But these are things that are coming to those who are faithful and who refuse to submit to evil and take part in it. Remember, when you're living in America and you're watching as America takes your tax dollars and send weapons and send soldiers too on the ground in Israel and allow them to kill innocent women and men and children, starving children to death, people that were more devout and holy and righteous than they ever could be. And I've met a lot of them. I've been over there several times, so I know what kind of people they are. They're not wicked haters of anybody. They just want to raise their children and families in righteousness. So don't listen to the liars, but you had better prepare yourself. You had better talk to your children, prepare them, and get ready for what's up ahead. I thank you. I will continue, if it's the Lord's will, to put out these videos. Thank you for joining me.